So we're now going to draw frequency diagrams of the data we collected in the last video where we had the massives and clementines and we had counting cars. I'm going to do this in quickly and then at the end talk through the key values. So I'm going to do the clementines first because that's more straightforward, there's less ambiguity there. The cars has got a couple of things to it. So that is the axes set up for the clementine graph. So if I bring back in the data from last time, the first thing I did was I looked for the highest frequency, which was 21, and I made sure that I started above that and I counted down to get 0 in the right place. That way you don't run out off the top of the page. A bit of planning ahead, whether I had to count in 2s or 10s or how to get it to fit on the page. Here 2s fit nicely. To point out, these values here are being cut horizontally by the grid lines. Okay, they're not in the spaces between them. The masses are here. Because there were no very light clementines, we skipped some of the scale between 0 and 60 because we don't need it. But to make sure that the person who reads the graph knows it's not a mistake and I'm not trying to trick anyone, I've marked that on the axis. That's important. It proves that you're not just miscounting. Here we've got equally spaced. Here I've chosen 2s, and here they're being cut vertically by the grid lines. And that's going to be crucially important. So this is how you set up the graph for a continuous data set. It's just like a coordinate grid in terms of that. So from here it will look a lot like what you call a bar chart or have in the past. So just to pin down one of these bars is in the data we've got here from 66 to 68 there were 4, and this bar between 66 and 68 goes up to 4. The bars are all touching because the data has no gaps in it, it's continuous. And that's how we know this is continuous data. That's one of the ways we can indicate to the viewer it's continuous data. So we just need to title now. Okay, so again there'll be a bit of speed through now as I set up the graph for the counting cars, which you remember is discrete data, and that can cause some problems. So this chart here has got a glaring error on, which we'll just pretend didn't happen. And what you should notice is fundamentally different about this chart from this chart is that there are gaps between every single bar. And that's because this data is discrete. So it is preferable when you have discrete data to put gaps between the bars. It is absolutely essential if the data is continuous that there are no gaps. So no gaps is required for this. Gaps are preferred for this because this is discrete data. You could, in fact, and sometimes you can get a bit wishy-washy when you have very large values and the distinction between continuous and discrete is merely technical. But it is preferred when you have discrete data to do it as strict categories with gaps in between. So hopefully all of the speeding through made this not so long and tedious. You don't have to watch all me drawing, and you have some idea how to draw frequency diagrams now. Enjoy.